Gamers, it's been 2 weeks. I apologise, but I had some technical difficulties that held me back from last week. Plus, I got a bit lazy. But guys, I'm glad you're all here this week. Hope you welcome me back with arms. Cheers, guys. It's been a great week again. Yabba dabba doo time.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, YouTube proudly presents to you its #1, I think, gaming collecting show in the world! I am Mad Mikey, and this is the shit I'll probably never play!
Mad Mikey Gaming.
What's up, all you mad gamers? I'm Mad Mikey. I come from the land down under, and in today's gaming hall of shit I'll probably never play, I have some real shit to show you guys. But just a bit of a backstory from last week. Dropped my phone at work, cracked the screen, had to get it repaired. By the time it was repaired, I was like, I've only got 3 games, so there's no real point. So here we are, presenting to you 2 weeks worth of shit I'll probably never play. So I hope you enjoy it, and guys, don't forget, I know you got 2 thumbs, I only want 1, so hit that like button down there that's got the little thumb next to it, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave comments below on if you've got the games, if you like the games that I picked up, or what you're looking to play this week. And I just want to give a big thank you to all my new subscribers, as well as the old ones who have been around since day one. But yes, let's get what I picked up the week before out of the way, because it was just a couple of new games and an older title. So the games that I picked up in terms of new were Ghost Recon Wildlands and Nier Automata. Now, if you listen to my podcast, which is now on iTunes, you would heard that we were talking about the games that come out. We talk about the games that are coming out every 2 weeks, and we basically say whether we're going to buy it, whether we're going to hold off on it, or whether it's a must-buy. I said both of these games were we'll wait and see sort of titles. I ended up getting Ghost Recon because Target or Big W or JB or whoever had a great first day sale for them, so I picked them up really cheap. I've played a couple of the missions solo on this game, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a really wide open world, and something that I could probably definitely see myself getting lost in. There was a few issues with the new PlayStation 4 patch that came out when I put it in the boost mode. The screen was just sort of going in and out and doing some strange stuff. So since I've identified that, I haven't had any issues, so I just basically turned off boost mode at the end of the day. I don't know if that's just affecting sort of like your actual PS4 Pro enabled games or games that aren't enabled, so I'll really have to do some testing on that. But this game is very much like The Division. Hopefully it's a Division done right, but so far I've been enjoying what I played. Hopefully I'll jump on there with some guys, some friends, maybe McBeasy, and we'll have a good old hootenanny of a time. And next up was Nier Automata. Now, this game is made by Platinum Games, the guys who bring to us what, in my quoting, is the perfect action game, the Bayonetta series, and a lot of really, really good action-orientated games. This one is no exception, guys. It's been getting rave reviews, anywhere from 8s all the way up to 9.5s. It's just Platinum Games in a shell. It's action orientated, it's got awesome visuals, although it does say that it's PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced, but there's no actual settings there. So when I sort of got it day one, I was looking for the settings, and I actually don't think there's any settings. But the game still looks amazing. I played through the first couple of missions on it, and it just feels like a Bayonetta game. I do have the original one on the Xbox 360, which is definitely sitting there in the shit I'll probably never play. But this game is amazing, and I will probably put a lot more time in it. This is definitely shit I'm going to play. And to round off the week before, we have a retro GameCube game, and it is The Prince of Persia: Warrior Within. Now, if you follow my channel, you would see last Monday I did the series Why I Love, and it was based on Prince of Persia. So This is my favorite Prince of Persia of the series. I'm really just at this point in time collecting all of the Prince of Persia games on all of them. So I've got it all on Xbox, I've got it all on PlayStation, I've got the triple packs on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2 as well. So I'm just really rounding up on the GameCube. So I've got Sands of Time Warrior then now. I'm just after the Two Thrones. Last one I really need is just Prince of Persia 3D, which was on the Dreamcast. And it was definitely just on. Yeah, it was just on the Dreamcast. But I don't need to go back into this much. Check the card if you want to go check out the link to the Why I Love Prince of Persia series, because it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time. Now, this week, did a big sort of gaming haul through CEX. Just at the moment, I'm really just buying a lot of games that are under sort of $5. So out of this pile of games, the most I spent on a game was actually $8. And to me, that was a bargain, because everywhere else I've seen that game is really expensive. So the first one was an old classic PlayStation 2 title, Soul Calibur 3. Now, I didn't actually have an idea that this was actually an exclusive on the PlayStation. Now, this is a Platinum, which, yes, you get what you're given from CEX. I'm a big fan of the Soul Calibur series. It's probably my favorite sort of fighting series go probably your Mortal Kombat, Injustice, and then Soul Calibur. Now, it's obviously this, in terms of history-wise, means that this wasn't the first sort of multi-plat game that PlayStation was able to make a console exclusive onto their system. Because obviously Street Fighter V is console exclusive, and they did the same with Soul Calibur. It's got a couple of story modes, it's got a couple of strategy modes. Yeah, I've always loved it. I've got all of the Soul Calibur 2s across all of the consoles, so Xbox, PlayStation, and on the GameCube, because they've all got their own individual characters. But this one doesn't hurt the series. It's got good scores, so it's definitely one that I'm happy that I picked up. Now, the rest of the games are all Xbox 360, so I'd still say they're retro classic titles. You may disagree, but I'm happy I got them. I'm more sort of focused these days on my sort of probably adding to my PlayStation 2 collection, GameCube, and Nintendo Wii. Just because when I sort of built all my shelving, obviously a lot of the room was taken up by Xbox and Xbox 360, and I did sort of notice the other consoles lacking. But as I said, look, the majority of these games, 250, 350 tops. So I wasn't going to knock it back. Now, the first one was BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. Now, I always love these anime-style fighting games. So from Persona, Ultimate Arena, to King of Fighters. I love the art styles that a lot of these games put out. And from what I understand, that this game is actually quite a sort of simple game, like along the lines of DOA. Which, yeah, that should have probably gone on my list of favorite fighting games. But it's got basically your 4 face buttons, but obviously there's combos and everything. It does have a story mode, but I think it falls into that sort of JRPG, like really full-on JRPG storytelling, where you've just got the pictures of the two people talking, text in the middle, and that's it. That's actually on Persona Arena, and I actually found myself falling asleep to that. But this is a game that I probably will give a try at, just if anything, just to see how the art style still sort of fits on the Xbox 360. Because, I mean, yeah, look, 1080p is 1080p, guys. And the next one is, and you'd probably be right, it's a bit of a fighting week this week. This is going to be the third fighting game. But TNA Impact. Now, if you guys don't know me by now, you know that I love collecting the wrestling sort of games, just based on the fact that it's going to have wrestlers on there that are sometimes never going to ever appear again. But definitely this was the first TNA game. I'm pretty sure there were a couple afterwards. But this has this game's probably really relevant at this point in time in terms of WWE. It's got Kurt Angle on the cover, who's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. You got AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, who are just sort of finding their way into the WWE and becoming major stars there. So it's really good in terms of this being a bit of an origin story of these guys. It's also got a lot of ex-WWE stars who sort of left to try and help build up this company, like Scott Steiner, Booker T, Christian. It's even got Sting in there, Kurt Angle, as I said, on the front. So it's actually quite interesting. Like, I've heard that the story mode on this is really terrible. The actual when TNA first came out, they had what they wanted their thing to be different was they had their X stars as well as an octagon ring, opposed to your sort of traditional squared circle. So I might give this game a go just to sort of have a look and see how the old stars sort of played. From what I heard, like, the fighting mechanics are actually quite good. The story mode was pretty terrible. The creator wrestling was pretty terrible too. It's really just there to sort of fill in my wrestling collection. And now we have Mercenaries 2 World in Flames. Now, I owned the original game on the Xbox One, and it was sort of revolutionary back in those days. Like, obviously you had your Red Faction back in the day, which was a first-person shooter, very sort of corridor sort of game. This on the Xbox came out and actually was an open world, fully destructible place. So I've never actually played this one, to be honest, but I did play the first one and I really enjoyed it. Just its characters. So you got a few distinct different characters. I'll say characters again just for the sake of saying characters. How many more times can I say it? I don't know. Very, very open world game. Very sort of tongue-in-cheek humor. Very much like Just Cause. I don't know what else to really tell you about it in terms of a really out there open world sort of blowing up shit kind of game. Now, we're hitting the cream of the crop of the shit that I picked up this week. All these games are probably going to be, you're going to look at them and you're going to cringe and you go, Mikey, what are you doing? But they were all, as I said, $2.50, $3.50, and the last one was $8. The first one we have here is Kane and Lynch Dead Men. Now, this is quite an interesting sort of thing because there were talks about it years ago that they were actually going to make a movie about this. So for me, as a person who loves story-based games, I'm sort of interested in the fact that it might have a good story in there somewhere. Just the gameplay has somehow sort of let it down. Now, I got number 2, so this is really just to complete the collection. Cost $3.50, so I'm not going to knock it back while I'm buying a couple of extra games. But yeah, like Jamie Foxx was attached to the movie. A lot of people were actually really interested in doing it. But the fact is that the biggest sort of really controversy about this series was number 2, where Jeff Gershman, who was working at GameSpot at the time, gave it a really bad review when Eidos or Kane and Lynch were sort of sponsoring them for the month or whatever, and that's where sort of the integrity of a lot of journalists was sort of put into play, especially in the gaming world, because it was like, well, money talk sort of thing, so we might bump up the scores a bit. But Jeff Gershman, high integrity kind of guy, gave it a really shit score for a shit game. Now, this next one, when it got announced, I was actually quite interested in it. I was looking forward to it, to be honest, because it was coming from a series that was initially a strategic type of game, but it was actually then sort of coming into the third-person Gears of War style of cover-based shooter, and that was XCOM Declassified: The Bureau. Now, it's set in the 50s, so I really don't actually understand where it fits. I think it actually acts as a prequel to the XCOM games, especially the newer ones. But from what I've heard when I was doing research on all these games, it's very buggy. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of exploits that you can take part in. I think it will be worth a look at. I did pick it up on Steam, but never got around to playing it. Obviously, you guys know that I love the physical copies of things. It looks like it's squad-based as well. You can sort of lose your squad mates during the game, but there's apparently some exploits where it makes it easy. There's save points where it brings them all back. It does sort of say on the back, no second chances sort of thing. Apparently, there's a really good story or a twist, but the lip syncing, there's apparently a lot of problems. So, will I play this game? No, I don't think so, Tim. In the last game of the week, the truest form of shit. Ride to Hell, Retribution. Now, this is synonymous with being known as the worst game ever created. Buggy game, just bad graphics, bad voiceovers, fully clothed sex scenes. It's got it all. I watched a review on it not long ago, and yeah, it just looks bad. Whether they've patched it or whether they cared to patch it, I don't know. But every time I've been looking and sort of picking up this game, it's been over $30. So I don't know if it's now just famous for being a terrible game that people think that they can mark up the prices, but I got this for $8. It did come with a bit of a shoddy sort of case, but luckily I got a couple of spares of some double games. I'm actually inclined to try this to actually see how bad it is. Don't mind an old western, and I sort of think that that's the sort of thing that they were going for. It can't be that bad, can it? I think it can. It's got 1% on the front. Funny thing is, I think that's its Metacritic score. But guys, that's it for this week. I'm glad if you've stuck around. Again, guys, I love the fact that you guys love to comment in here and have a chat to us. Don't forget, below is links to all my social medias. Come follow us, come have a chat. We've got really nice little community there where we like to have a bit of a laugh and talk about things. Thank you so much. Obviously, next Monday, we'll be having another Why I Love Gaming series, followed on Tuesday and Thursday with the gaming news thoughts, and Friday is the shit I'll probably never play. Till then, guys, I hope my shit has not offended you.